Good morning. It's Wednesday, and I've kind of fallen off the horse a little bit on the mileage the last month and a half. So my knees weren't very happy. It turns out running shoes make a difference. I was running in some just kind of regular standard Adidas. It was a mistake. I paid for it a little bit and I had to recover, but thankfully after getting a couple of pair in the States while I was visiting, I just took a couple weeks and they're feeling pretty darn good again, which is great. I was getting a little concerned. Whew. But I'm taking it a little bit slower, which is probably gonna put me behind on my goals, but that's okay because, longevity, health, these things matter. Also today is like 7:30, something like that. It's the first time I've gotten up early, despite I'm having a hard time falling asleep very quickly and adjusting. It also doesn't help with all the random late nights drinking with Paul, but aside from that, working on getting into my rhythm, which is gonna be get up early, run, eat breakfast, start my day, and probably work a little bit too long, but that's good. I'm really excited. There's a lot going on. We can talk about that. I also wanted to talk a little bit today about the effects of what we spend our time, energy on, and share. Because I've seen more people bring this up again. I've talked about it before lately. It's not exactly in the usual realm of the subject on my vlog, but I just thought I'd kind of touch on that. Also, probably should keep running. Coffee and, oh no, I haven't had coffee yet. That's the whole point. I'm kind of stuck. You know what happens when you know what you need to do for the day, but you don't know exactly if you should make coffee here and take it with you or get coffee out and on the way, because I got a whole loop I need to make today. There's a lot of walking to do, and I'm having lunch with my buddy Dan. So I think I'll just go, it makes sense to go start at the top of the loop. Anyway, it's also because of the rain, and I don't want to take my big camera out because it's going to get rained on, and just funny how the uncertainty of the weather can lead to so many other uncertainties. Speaking of uncertainties, sometimes I feel uncertain about the things that I should share and engage with online, especially with social media. That's basically what I was going to talk about a little bit, was how I'm trying to approach that. I have been trying to approach it for a while. Just a little bit of a social media talk today, I suppose, but particularly just in being mindful of how we end up boosting things we don't really want to probably be boosting. It's time to talk about the attention economy. But first, coffee. So fresh. Well, yesterday's cookie was really good as a crispy cookie. If you like gooey cookies, Partisan might be the place to go. I'm always on the hunt for a good cookie. Anyways, let's go walking. I've been pretty vocal at times about my attempts and desire to, reduce the amount of time that I spend on social media and my phone as a whole. My friends will tell you, Jess has said at different times that she's both very proud and impressed, and also sometimes frustrated at how slow I can be to respond because, when it comes to the texting, even texting, everything, I try to keep my phone away from me as much as possible and only use it intentionally. Because I do still find myself, mindlessly scrolling at different points. And usually when that happens, I just look at it and I'm like, what am I doing? But that kind of is the foundation of the idea of the attention economy, right? Where we spend our attention is basically the foundation of the zero-sum game of the modern economy. I don't think there's a zero-sum game in terms of money, in terms of how many artists you can support, how many things you can be a part of, but there's only so much time in the day and you can only give your undivided attention to so many things. So attention ends up being what drives a lot of the modern economy, especially the internet economy, right? It's like voting with your dollars. If there's a local restaurant that you want to survive, to thrive, you patronize them. You make sure that you go and support them by participating, by eating there, by paying them. And of course, if you say that you want local restaurants to survive, but all you do is eat at McDonald's, well, you're voting a different way with your dollars. And if they go out of business, that's ultimately the result. Same thing happens with your attention, with what we pay attention to, with what do we give attention to, and, the engines that drives. What's different between, supporting a business with your dollars, your attention, is that you can actually throw a lot of attention around without actually paying much attention, which I think is one of the key distinctions. And what I mean by that is that, let's say that you see something that you like or that you dislike. By engaging with it, it tells the algorithm, whichever algorithm you're, engaging with, that you're interested, that there is interest in it, that more people might be interested in it. And most of these platforms, their entire goal is to keep you on and paying attention, because that's how they sell that attention in the form of advertising. This, you know all this. But what I think we forget, and what might slide by unnoticed sometimes, is that counts for the stuff you don't like, or you disagree with, or is wrong as well. So if you highlight something that spreads misinformation, for example, even to mock it, even to say, what is this person talking about? This is crazy, blah, blah, blah. What you're doing is then you're boosting that out to even more people who probably would never have seen it or even known that it existed, just in the process of mocking it. And sure, some of the people that see it are gonna agree with you and be like, oh, this is ridiculous. But there's also a chance that you might be exposing some people to an idea, a dangerous idea, that they're not prepared for, and that maybe leads them down their own rabbit hole. And so obviously it's important to, in the form of ideas, put stuff out there, discuss it, have an honest debate. But in this clickbaity, attention-driven economy, there's not a lot of incentive for honest debate. There's a lot of danger in the misinformation that gets passed around as a result. I think it's counterintuitive, because back in the old days, you would be able to, sit and have an honest conversation with a group of friends, with people that you knew. And hopefully you had people in your life that just naturally disagreed with you about different things. And you could have conversations about those things, learn, grow, open your mind a bit. I mean, that's one of the things that travel did for me early on when I finally left the States, which I didn't even travel at all until just after college. My ability to move to France, to see a little bit of the world, and to be confronted with different worldviews, ideologies, just ways of thinking, didn't always change my mind, but definitely made me stop and really question why it was that I believed the things that I, simply assumed to be true. That was a huge gift. But it can feel like the irony, got a lot of traffic jams. It's just a regular reminder not to drive in Paris. Silly. The irony, of course, is that with the hyperconnectivity of the internet, we've somehow become less connected, less open, with access to all the information in the world, managed to stop taking it in. And those are choices that are made at an architectural level. Like, there's individual responsibility in that, but the way that the internet has developed to accommodate this attention economy, to accommodate, pays for clicks, inherently leads to a lot more outrage and absolutely ridiculous headlines, because they're competing for your click, and they know that whatever's going to make you the angriest, whatever seems the most outrageous or unsupportable, that was a little bit of Frenchism there, but you get it. You see it every day. We're aware of it. But what I wanted to highlight, again, was how we sometimes participate in that without realizing it. I do this. You end up ranting and raving because it works, it gets you upset. You reshare something that maybe didn't need to be reshared, and at a minimum, end up infecting other people with some extra doses of rage, which maybe they didn't really need that day. And possibly, if you're anything like me and occasionally reshare information without verifying it first, you end up sharing something that's not really true, and you have to go back and apologize and figure out how to undo that damage. So being cautious, it's amazing. All of this because I think of like one delivery truck. It's insane. Anyways, all of this to say, what you engage with, what you share, the time you spend on the internet, it matters. It has an impact. Much like every vote counts in a democracy, in an attentionocracy, in an attention economy, I guess I'll just go with that. In an attention economy, every click and every second you spend on a particular piece of content counts. That actually brings up another good point. One of the things that I've tried to do, I found myself, especially a couple years ago and in the pandemic, just being over inundated with a lot of news, that especially news that made me angry. And I feel like we could have a whole other discussion about the state of journalism and news at large, but that's not what this channel is about. so we'll just stick to the social media side, because this is obviously a social media platform. And one of the things that I've really tried to do is stay informed while also keeping my blood pressure at a healthy level. Like, I don't need to remain persistently enraged at the state of the world and things going on. And anybody who seems to be actively engaged in trying to keep me angry and upset is somebody I view with suspicion, and somebody that I might, unsubscribe from, not listen to their podcast anymore. There's a certain level of rage and anger that is really important. In fact, it's really valuable and necessary. It's an emotion that we need, but we also need to manage, like all our emotions. And anybody that's looking to use that against me to profit off of it, that's somebody I really want to engage with. I'm just thinking about that with the whole rage porn situation. If you're staying angry all the time, maybe turn some things off. Did a lot of good for me. Helped a lot. This is a beautiful day for a stroll. I got hot. I had to start taking layers off. That's also part of it, right? Like engaging with these things, letting them get under your skin, adding to the buzz around them only adds a sense of credibility that they may not deserve in the first place. And that's how weird, fringy, absolutely debunked, straight up lies, that's how they end up gaining a lot of traction, because people hear them a lot and they see how many people are upset and they think, maybe there's something to this. And then all of a sudden you think the earth is flat. And what? What? And that's also not to blame like these individuals. Again, this is like a systemic failure across the board. There's a lot that needs to be done to stop this. And one of the small steps that we can take as individuals, is simply to be really careful with how we engage with all of this stuff, and hopefully nip it in the bud by suffocating it of a little bit of attention. It's a good start, at least. Anywho, thanks for coming to my TED Talk. I'm gonna walk over to meet my buddy Dan for lunch now. It's not quite done with my researchy stroll, although I'll see what else I can hit on the way up and out of here. But it's going really well. Overall, very, very happy with the progress we've been making. And that's just a note for posterity's sake. Someday down the line, somebody will see this and go, it must have been going well. I mean, you can think that now too, but you'll know what was going well, soon enough. Anyway, lunch.
I remember that's the thing.
Hey. Well, it's always good to see Dan. That was awesome. Long overdue on that pizza. We've been talking about it. We were talking about it last year. And we haven't been able to go back there since October. Holy cow. Wow. It's crazy to think of all the things that have changed over the last, or just, even if it hasn't changed, just how different life has been for so long. Lots to think about there. Lots of context. Anyways, I have some more testing to do here, and I'm going to carry that out. Thanks to today's Patreon producer, Isabel Haycott. Or Hackett. Sorry I forgot the pronunciation wrong there, but I'm so grateful to have you here, and I'm so grateful to all my patrons for sending me out to do a little bit of, research work and, think a little bit out loud about, I don't know, I guess ultimately the point and my hope is that we can be conscientious consumers and spreaders of information. I think it's really important, and at least I'm trying to do that, and I'm also just trying to disengage from too much social media and re-engage with people in reality as much as possible. So something that I'm really grateful that we're able to do a little bit more easily now that we're regaining some level of freedom. And oh man, just being able to sit outside, it's the best. This doesn't have my name on it?
No.
It just came here? That was fast. All right. Well, one of the bikes are here. We have something to test here shortly. It's gotten all kinds of rainy all of a sudden. I hid under a tree for a while. It was nice. It's actually kind of nice just to watch the rain. Anywho, hope you're having a wonderful day wherever it is you are. I'm going to leave you here and get back to finishing this up before I go back and, sit at my computer and work. And I'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning for, more random rainy wonderfulness here in Paris. See you tomorrow. Editing Jay here really quick. I walked 22,000 steps today. That was with the testing phone that I was doing my research with. Which I didn't run with this morning. So I ran 5K this morning and then walked whatever 22,000. It's like, something like 10 miles or something? I'm tired. I'll see you tomorrow.